With a roll call, please.
Mayor Lawson,
Here.
council members Abbott,
Here.
Vanderwell,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Ivy,
Here.
Dare,
Here.
City Attorney Adams. Here. City Manager Cruz.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we have our invocation by Pastor Barbara West.
Would you bow your heads with me in prayer? Father, we just come to you thanking you today for the fact that we can gather together and do your business. Thank you, Lord, for Mayor Lawson and all that he brings to the city of Sparks. Thank you, too, Lord, for every member of the council who have something to bring to the table. We pray that you would bless each and every one of them and give them wisdom from above to do the business for our beloved city. Lord, we want to ask you to help our firefighters as they continue to work on these fires around us. Pray that they would soon be able to get it all out, keep them all safe and sound. We also pray for our first responders and our police force. Bless them, Lord, and help them to continue to be strong and courageous. Thank you for being here at this meeting, and we pray that your will and your business will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Mr. Abbott, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, sir. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's move on to public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have any speaking cards? Okay, anyone in the audience wishing to speak at this time? All right, we'll close public comment and move on to approval of the agenda. Ms. Bybee.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the agenda with the following change. I move to move item 9.4 to after 11.2. So 9.4 after 11.2.
Okay, I've got a motion. I gotta see, I gotta get on the right page.
I'm going to say second.
I'll
Yeah.
second it.
I got a motion by Councilwoman Bybee, a second by Councilman Anderson. I don't have any voting buttons up.
Aye, aye, Captain.
I don't have anything else. There's motions.
We can do like throwback, how we used to do it.
All right, well, I'll give you another 15 or move on.
Yeah, let's do a voice vote.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, minutes. Any addition, subtraction to the minutes? If not, I'm looking for a motion.
Move to approve?
I had a motion by Councilman Dare,
Second.
second by Councilman Abbott. Abbott?
Rivet.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I got to switch in my brain with non-computer use. Okay, up to item 7.1, boards and commissions vacancy announcement, Sparks Police Advisory Committee. Mr. Kreutz.
Mayor Lawson, members of the council, for the record, Neil Kreutz, your manager, here to announce 7 vacancies on our newly created Sparks Police Advisory Committee, each for a 2-year term. 3 of the members shall represent diverse or multicultural groups that are reflective of the social and economic demographics of Sparks. 1 member shall be a high school or college student. 1 member shall represent the business community in Sparks. 2 members shall represent the community of Sparks at large. Members shall either be residents of or business owners in the city of Sparks. If selected, members must participate in a Sparks Police Department Citizen Academy and undergo a background check. Applications will be accepted until Friday, August 27th, this week, at 5 p.m. Anyone interested in serving on this committee or any of the other committees in Sparks should fill out a community service application available from our clerk's office. Actually, the best way to get to that is to go to our website, www.cityofsparks.us/getinvolved, all one word. Once you're there, click on volunteering for a Sparks Board, Commission, or Committee, fill out the form, and press submit. Thank you, Mayor Lawson.
Okay, thank you. Item 7.2, we're going to administer the oath of office for Mr. Ornelas. Okay. Here we are. All right, I state your name.
I, Armando Ornelas,
Do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend
solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the Government of the United States,
the Constitution of the Government of the United States,
the Constitution of Government of the State of Nevada,
the Constitution of the State and the Government of the State of Nevada,
against all enemies, whether foreign, domestic, or foreign,
against all enemies, whether domestic or foreign,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and loyalty to the same.
and loyalty to the same,
Any ordinance, resolution, or law
any ordinance, resolution, or law
of any state notwithstanding,
of any state, notwithstanding,
and that I will well and faithfully perform all the duties
and that I will well and faithfully perform all the duties
of community director
of community services director
for the city of Sparks,
for the city of Sparks,
county of Washoe,
county of Washington,
state of Nevada,
state of Nevada,
on which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
which I am about to enter, so help me God.
I'm really happy he's a big guy. I'm happy he's a big guy. He's not small.
kidding.
It was hard when Ron was.
I know.
I was like, "Ooh."
Okay. All right, 7.3, presentation, Nevada Humane Society. Ah, gosh, dog. That thing.
You're gonna take that
It's
sucker
gonna,
out.
Gonna have to remove that.
yeah, it's gonna take out my kneecap.
Test, test. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay. Go up our PowerPoint here. Okay. So good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of City Council, staff. My name is Greg Hall. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Nevada Humane Society. I'm here in the audience, or here in the audience with me, rather, is Kristen Sabini, our Development Director, my right-hand person. We're here just to give you an update on what Nevada Humane Society is up to in the COVID year and subsequently so far in 2021, and also just to express our appreciation for the leadership of our community and how much you all have made a difference in helping animal welfare and promoting its mission. So a little bit about Nevada Humane Society. Who are we? We were founded almost 90 years ago in 1932 to address suffering of stray animals. Although our mission changed quite dramatically 14 years ago in 2007 when we became a no-kill shelter. For those of you familiar with the term, that means a life-saving rate that exceeds 90%. Our current life-saving rate is 96%. We've been a no-kill shelter for quite a number of years. And we've been, in fact, a leader not only in Nevada, but in the country in terms of our animal life-saving rate. We expanded to Carson City in 2014. We now work on a contract there. So we are one of the fabric in Northern Nevada in terms of animal welfare, but we are a very large player, serving not only the communities of Reno, Sparks, and Carson City, but rural Nevada and beyond. We are the only open admission no-kill shelter in the state. That's our mission. We take the animals that are difficult, that we don't have a choice if they are in difficult condition, if they're suffering from maladies, if no one wants them, we're the ones that take them. We are not the only organization that helps animal welfare in the community, but we are an important player. Most importantly, we do not receive government grants, and we're not affiliated with any national welfare organization, despite our name and the similarity with national organizations. Our mission is very simple. It's to care for pets, find them homes, and save lives. And note that the first part of the mission is to care for pets. First of all, we need animals to be healthy if they are to be adoptable, and that's a main part of our mission. And we'll get to that in a little bit. The vision is that all pets should have a very happy and healthy life. In 2021, let me back up. In 2020, we were able to, make it through COVID, much like you all did as city government. It was not easy, but we managed to stay open for the entire year. And that has rolled over into 2021 with a really robust start to the year. We've already adopted over 4,700 animals with 996 adoptions this year in July 2021. And that's in part due to the fact we were able to reopen our shelter to not just appointment-based, but actually walk-in traffic. We're really happy to have been able to do this and remain safe. Like I mentioned, our life-saving rate is 96%. We've also been able to give back to the community. Most recently, we had a drive-through pet food assistance and also human food assistance with Pet Food Bank of Northern Nevada, and we served almost 400 pets in that venture. We have had, although we are a humble organization, we have had a number of accomplishments this year through recognition by third parties. I just wanted to share this, not to brag, but mostly to give a thank you to our team. I have a wonderful team that I have the privilege to work with every day. But also mostly this is a reflection of the community. The community is the one who makes these determinations, and they're the ones that support us. And you are part of that community, and we really thank you for your support in this. We have the highest ranking of Charity Navigator in the state of Nevada. We're the only 4-star rated animal welfare organization. We also were voted the best nonprofit, as you can see, for the RGJ Best of poll. And just on Friday, we're going to be attending the NNHRA Best Places to Work event, and we have been nominated in the medium category for 50 to 150 employees. We also have a platinum seal from GuideStar. We've been recognized by the Nevada Appeal, and we also won a marketing campaign for our spring marketing campaign called Pause for a Cause from the American Marketing Association. So, like I said, we're humble about this, but we want to share this because we feel like the community is really the driver of this, not us. We're just a conduit. What do we do for the community? Our programs are certainly oriented towards providing a safety net for homeless pets. I thought it was very interesting that as we walked up here, the first request was, did you guys bring a dog? And I think that is how our community looks at not only what we do, but that's what our community feels about pets. Nationwide, 57% of people own domesticated pets. In Nevada, it's 70%, and 93% of Nevadans have at one point owned a pet. So we have a really special community, and we're very thankful for that and all of your role in that. More importantly, 91% of those polled actively care about the outcomes for homeless pets, including cats, dogs, and small animals. Those are just phenomenal numbers. And I'm just wondering, is there a time clock running? Okay.
We'll give you the hook.
You'll give me the hook? Okay.
That big one over here.
Okay, awesome. I'm trying to stay on time, so thank you for that. But a few things that we do much more than just these bullet points, but these were the ones we wanted to highlight. Just as a refresher, we do have comprehensive adoption policies. We have an open adoption policy, which tries to find owners and adopters with creative solutions. We're not judgmental. We do care about the outcome of the animals, and we're not going to put animals in a tough spot, but we do try to make that connection very liberally. We also provide pet food assistance, as I mentioned. We have our low-cost vaccine clinic, and a big part of our care is the volunteers that create foster care situations, because we can't take care of all of them in the shelter, nor is that the best environment for all of them. We also have an animal help desk that helps the public statewide. Our adoption policies ensure a happy, successful placement. We adopt out dogs, cats, and small animals. Small animals are actually fairly robust. We adopt out nearly 400 animals per year. I remember 2 years ago, our first adoption of the year on January 1st was a hedgehog. There's mandatory spaying and neutering of dogs, cats. rabbits, and we microchip as well, and we do vaccinate all of the animals. We have 3 veterinarians on staff in our clinic, and their numbers are pretty amazing. These are veterinarians and staff that care very, very strongly about the animals. You can see the numbers there in 2020. It's pretty remarkable that 16,000 animals have been assisted every year. They all work very hard, and we try very, very hard to retain our employees. For those of you that know out there right now, it's very difficult to find veterinarians and support staff, and we have a very dedicated group. Our foster programs are one of our signatures. You can see Lizzie there. She's an amazing teenager who we've nominated for a national award. She and her mother just do amazing work in terms of bringing in cats and kittens during their neonatal months. So as you can see from the bullet points, we help serve kittens, puppies. We also help dogs and cats that are in need of surgeries and that are recovering from injuries. It's actually a not well-known aspect of fostering for dogs, and we're always looking for fosters if you have any referrals for us. Over 6,000 animals were fostered in 2019 to 2020. How can you help? Of course, you can donate. We wanted to let you know in a little bit of a selfish plug that we have our duck race upcoming on the 18th of September. Our goal is to raise $200,000 for homeless pets. This is our big fundraiser of the year, and we've already adopted out over 20,000 ducks, which 2 years ago would have been a record. So the public has really, really supported Nevada Humane Society, and it's become a thing to do, if you want to call it that. You can see the details there. I would just encourage you to go to our website if you're interested. Also, the main way that you can help other than donating, because donation is entirely how we work. We do not receive government funding. We have a very large budget, and that all comes from the generosity of individuals. But also, we really, really need volunteers. Like any nonprofit, the volunteers are the backbone for our organization. We value them more than I can even express today. But we would encourage everybody to come and volunteer with us. We have a lot of different things you can do. Walking dogs is the most popular, but it's only one thing. And we really couldn't do what we do without the help and assistance of our volunteers. I just want to say once again, thank you to the community. I will open this up for questions and comments. But we really, as my team, would be very disappointed in me if I didn't express to you our appreciation. Every day we realize what a great community that we have and what a blessing it is to be here in Northern Nevada doing this work. And you guys all play a part of that. I hope that you all are aware of that, and we wanted to just share what we're doing, and thank you for that. So Kristen and I are here for any questions or comments that you have, and thank you for your time today. We really appreciate the honor.
Questions from the council?
Speak.
Yes.
Is Barley Ranch going to be the new home? Because I know I've seen the race downtown Reno usually. So is Barley Ranch the forever new home, I guess?
No, it's not the forever new home. So last year we had to do, because of COVID, we had to do a virtual event. And so we did it at the shelter with an online stream. This year we have to do it just because it would be too burdensome to do it down in the river. We're hoping to go back to the river.
Gotcha.
Barley Ranch is kind of a hybrid event. So
Gotcha.
There's going to be a lot of interaction for the kids. We're going to show a movie so we can stay safe, but also not have to worry about having all the ducks go down the river and crowd control downtown.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Dare.
I've heard that in 2020, a lot of people got a pet because they were home, and that everything's been on the uptick of actually a lot of extra animals out there right now. Is that true? Is that what you find?
That's a great question. It's partially true. So there was a huge uptick. A lot of adoptions occurred last year, which resulted in a shortage of animals, which was great for us. We were able to empty our shelters several times, which had never happened before. It is true that the populations are now rising, but the initial studies are that the surrendering of animals has not increased. We've been expecting it with, the ban on evictions. We've expecting a spike, but that keeps getting it gets kicked down, the can gets kicked down the road. And so we're still expecting that. But even though it's gone up, well, we have not actually gotten back to 2019 levels for surrenders. Sure.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
All right, item 7.4, proclamation, National Suicide Prevention Week. Is there anyone here for that? Come on down. We're going to read the proclamation, then afterward, we'll give you a few minutes to talk. Okay, so have a seat right there. Paul?
All right. Whereas suicide remains the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 to 34, and whereas in the United States, over 47,000 people died by suicide in 2019. And whereas suicide rates have increased 30% over the last 2 decades, with suicide rates finally decreasing 2.1% between 2018 and 2019. And whereas it's estimated that in 2019 there were 1.38 million suicide attempts, and whereas in 2019 suicide was the 8th leading cause of death in Nevada, taking lives of 642 people. And whereas over 90% of the people who die by suicide have a diagnosable and or treatable mental health condition, although often that condition is not recognized or treated. And whereas organizations such as American Foundation for Suicide Prevention are dedicated to saving lives, bringing hope to those affected by suicide through research, education, advocacy, and resources for those who have lost someone to suicide or who have struggled with thoughts of suicide, and urge it that we, 1, recognize suicide as a preventable nationwide state public health problem and declare suicide prevention to be a priority. 2, acknowledge that no single suicide prevention program or effort will be appropriate for all populations or communities. 3, address the disparities in access to mental health for underrepresented groups and advocate for ending those disparities. 4, fund new suicide research to support culturally informed and evidence-based mental health care and services. 5, encourage initiatives based on the goals contained in the National Strategy for Suicide Prevention and the 2017-2019 Nevada Office of Suicide Prevention Action Plan. 6, understand that there is no single cause of suicide and that suicide must often occur when stressors exceed the coping abilities of someone struggling with a mental health condition. And 7, develop and implement strategies to improve and increase access to quality mental health, substance abuse, suicide prevention services, and programs. Now, therefore, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim September 5th through 11th, 2021 as National Suicide Prevention Week.
Thank you. My name is Melanie Gordon, and this is my dear mother, Vicki Broman. I lost my younger brother in February of 2019, survived by his amazing little girl. I was born and raised here in Sparks and moved away for a while, and through all this crazy hardship, recently relocated back to Sparks and was recently appointed to the board of directors for the state of Nevada for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So we have September, which is Suicide Prevention Week, and then in November is the National Survivor of Suicide Loss Day. And we just booked with the Sparks Marina our Out of the Darkness walk on May 14th of 2022. I'm local. I'm looking to connect with any of you on the city, our first responders, law enforcement, or anyone here in the crowd. We know we're living through some very trying times. We're looking to do partnerships with schools, veterans, and law enforcement. And as a new board member, I'm really, really proud to represent my city in honor of my brother, Ryan Broman. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is definitely something that we have not done very well, is mental health care, as a nation, as a state, and even locally. So I commend you for taking that on. Any questions from the council, Mr. Anderson?
Not a question, but a comment. If you guys would like to take a photo, we'll come over here and take a photo with the proclamation. But I just wanted to let you know that both Councilman Dare and I are involved in the Mayor's Challenge for suicide prevention
Okay.
of service members, their families, and veterans. And our next meeting is virtual, and it's this Thursday, and we'd love to have you involved in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're finding, as a new board member, I'm finding that the state of Nevada has budget for programming and Talk Saves Lives. And Vegas has had a lot more momentum, but we're up here building momentum in Northern Nevada as well because it's much needed. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Bybee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to commend you on getting, become part of that board and the work that all the groups, there are a lot of groups with suicide prevention, and I know it just touches everyone across all demographics. You know, I mean, it really, there's probably very few of us who don't know someone, family or friend, someone close to us who unfortunately has committed suicide. And, you know, years ago when my husband's high school friend, after high school, committed suicide. And it was just so impactful to he and the other guys that they went to high school with. Someone had told me that suicide leaves more victims than it takes, which is so true. I mean, it really does, because there's always those questions on what you could have done. And I think the more awareness, more education. I know our schools, we've had incidents in our local schools, some of the high schools here, law enforcement, and I know our police chief and fire, first responders, military, really across the board, it impacts everyone. So I think the more all of us can be aware and how we can outreach, how we can help one-on-one can ultimately make a difference. So thank you for being here, for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, and welcome home, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, I was just going to ask you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on to item 7.5, Proclamation International Overdose Awareness Day. Is there anyone here for this subject? Come on up. We'll read the proclamation, and we'll give you a minute to speak. Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas International Overdose Awareness Day is a global event that is held on August 31st of each year to acknowledge individual loss and family grief for people who have suffered an overdose. And whereas in 2020, there were 916 overdose deaths in Nevada and 93,331 in the United States. And whereas overdoses can result from both legal and illicit drugs. And whereas Overdose Awareness Day recognizes the tragedy of the overdose crisis, allowing us to educate the public about the issue. And whereas Overdose Awareness Day sends a strong message of support to those suffering from a substance use disorder, letting them know they are loved and valued. And whereas International Overdose Awareness Day is an opportunity for all Nevadans to stand beside those who have lost loved ones to an overdose and those who are seeking to recover from substance use disorder. Therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim August 31st, 2021 as International Overdose Awareness Day.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. On behalf of Join Together Northern Nevada, I want to express my deep appreciation for your continued support for this issue in our community and internationally. I am new to the organization and I am passionate about prevention in our community, which this event is all about that, treatment and recovery. And I'm happy to be here to accept the proclamation. Thank you so much.
You give us your name for the record, please?
Ann Elizabeth Northen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the council? Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to consent items. Anybody wish to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion.
Move to approve consent items 8.1 to 8.3.
Got a motion by Councilman Dare. Somebody? Anybody? Oh. Oh, second by Mr. Abbott.
See.
Okay, we're back up and running again. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Got to switch right in the middle of it. Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on, general business 9.1. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an expenditure of $292,277 to purchase one Schwarz Model M6TE Avalanche mechanical sweeper on a Freightliner M2 chassis from Schwarz. Am I saying that right?
Sure.
Okay, Schwarz Industries, Inc., utilizing Sourcewell contract number 122017-SWZ from MME Equipment. Mr. Corman.
Mayor Lawson, members of the council, Ron Corman, for the record, and for those of you who don't recognize me anymore. I am before you today to ask for your approval. Can we pull this screen up? To purchase a new sweeper. As you mentioned, we would be purchasing this sweeper from Schwarz / MME Equipment as their distributor using a Sourcewell contract. This is an item that was on the fiscal year 22 vehicle and equipment replacement program. So we had budgeted $360,000. This may look very familiar because just a few months ago, we were before you to purchase a very similar vehicle, identical. And that was in the fiscal year 21 budget. And this one is in the fiscal 22 budget. And the company was good enough that when we purchased the last one, we negotiated to actually purchase the two. And so we were able to get the pricing on this unit the same as the last unit. The sweepers in the city of Sparks, as you know, are an integral part of the maintenance that we do. They serve several functions. We obviously, after snow events, we're out there picking up the sand so that we can meet the EPA guidelines. Sweepers are out there trying to keep the debris and stuff, other trash and whatnot that ends up in the roadways, leaves, to try and keep that out of our storm drain system so that our flood readiness is always as high as we can possibly make it. And of course, the other thing that we do is we do the on-call kind of things, where when there's an accident or that kind of a thing, then we respond to that. Sweepers are used daily in the city of Sparks, and due to the extremely harsh environment that they work in, constantly pulling up dirt, dust, debris, stuff that gets left in the road, we have found over time that it is more cost-effective for the city to replace them at a shorter lifespan interval than it is to try and refurbish them and then just, make them last as long as we possibly can. So that is all I really have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve an expenditure of $292,277 to purchase one Schwarz Model M6TE Avalanche mechanical sweeper on a Freightliner M2 chassis from Schwarz Industries Incorporated, utilizing Sourcewell contract 122017-SWZ from MME Equipment.
Mr. Dare.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. And Mr. Dare. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. 9.2, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a construction contract, AC 5799, with West Coast Paving, Inc. for the 2022 River Pathway Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $79,600. Brian.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of City Council. For the record, my name is Brian Kaysen, Capital Projects Manager. This particular project is for the FY22 River Pathway Rehabilitation Project. Let me bring up the site map for that. There we go. Every year, staff goes through and assesses the pathways, basically throughout the city of Sparks, but primarily along the Truckee River pathway and then along Sparks Boulevard, where the North Truckee Drain runs along there, and we have additional bike paths. This particular project was identified as the priority for the FY22 annual bike path funding, and will provide the removal and replacement of 1,600 linear feet of pathway that's approximately 10 feet wide, located just south of Cottonwood Park. This right here is Cottonwood Park, and it runs just south of Spice Island Drive and east of South McCarran Boulevard. The project was informally quoted with 3 contractors. 2 of them submitted quotes, and the third one was non-responsive. West Coast Paving provided the low quote at $79,600, and that does include a $10,000 force account for any unforeseen items that may come up throughout the project. And then ultimately, staff recommends council approve the quote provided by West Coast Paving in the amount of $79,600 for the 2022 River Pathway Rehabilitation Project. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Question from the council. Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Anderson.
I'll second it. Oh, never mind. I
We
will,
got a
but-
second by, we're gonna have to change it.
Okay, are we reading the motion so we know what we're...
Yeah, I'll read the motion.
If you're ready, please.
Move to approve the construction contract AC 5799 with West Coast Paving Incorporated for the 2022 River Pathway Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $79,600.
Mr. Abbott.
I'll second it.
We got a motion by Councilman Anderson and a second by Councilman Abbott. Any further discussion?
Actually, if I could just ask a question.
You can.
So our city streets are graded by staff and an independent company to determine when they need to be repaved. How does it work on that path? Do we do the same thing as far as putting it on a scale, or how do we do that?
We don't scale it in the same method. We do bring in similar or the same staff that would be performing those same, helping with the assessment of the main roadways throughout the city of Sparks. But this is just really just between the Parks Department and my staff and the maintenance staff, just go through and drive the pathways and just keep note of all the different areas that need to be upgraded or need to be rehabbed or need to have a slurry seal or whatever it is. And we just try and come up with a project that's consolidated into a particular area. And every year we just pick different areas throughout the pathway.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Okay, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Brian. 9.3, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of construction contract AC 5800 with Houston Smith Construction, Inc. for the Fire Station Number 2 remodel project, bid number 21/22-001. PWP hashtag WA 2021-318 in the amount of $319,000. Brian.
Good afternoon. Again, Brian Kaysen for the record. This project is for the Fire Station Number 2 remodel project. The location, just to remind you where Fire Station number 2 is at, is just south of Bering Boulevard and northeast of McCarran Boulevard, right near that intersection. Truckee Lane right here and Shelley Park. And so here's the project location. And then the actual construction project, just to give you a brief overview of what the contractor would be doing, is they will be removing all these partition walls in this area here and redoing the existing dorm room areas to make them just more efficient. They'll be updating the existing bathroom that has not been updated since basically 1974 when the building was constructed. They will be enclosing this open patio to accommodate a new ADA restroom, which also includes an ADA shower. And then this accomplishes several things, but ultimately it makes it more efficient, a more efficient use of the space, and we'll have a larger living area, larger dorm room area, more basically storage, and then have different areas. The showers will be basically have doors on them so that somebody can be using the shower while somebody's in there brushing their teeth or whatever. So ultimately, and we'll be replacing the carpet with new luxury vinyl tile, which is just way more durable and easier to maintain and clean, and then replacing the existing lighting with new LED lighting. The project was formally bid with 5 contractors submitting bids. Houston Smith Construction did provide the low bid of $319,000. Staff does recommend council approve the bid provided by Houston Smith Construction in the amount of $319,000. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions from the council, Ms. Bybee?
Yes, Brian, I was just curious, you just mentioned the ADA compliant bathroom. This isn't, are we required to do that when it's not a public access building? This is just for the fire department and use only by staff. So is it still, is it a legal requirement we have ADA?
Yes, because ultimately we worked with the building department on this, and because they can have things like pancake breakfast. This particular facility does not typically have those things, but they can have events that where somebody would need possibly to use the restroom. And so we did have to, if we were going to add a restroom, we did have to construct an ADA restroom for this facility.
Okay, I was just curious because I knew probably our firefighters would not need that access, but I didn't know if staff, and that makes sense if we have it open for
We spent a lot of time discussing that with them, and that's where we landed. We're required to use it to put an ADA bathroom in this facility.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Any other questions from the council? Mr. Dare?
What happens to our firemen and women who are using that station now? It's a pretty busy station, and all the construction, the bathrooms are shut down and things of that fashion.
I've been working with the staff there, and ultimately during the day they are going to be working out of fire station number 4, and then at night they'll be, at night they'll be staying at fire station number 4. During the day they'll still be working out of this station, but there's actually a workroom and several other rooms on the other side of the bays here where they can actually do their day-to-day work without it affecting them, without the construction.
We're comfortable getting to our numbers and everything we got to do.
Yeah.
Moving that for a time. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Abbott?
How long do we think it'll take for the project to?
It's scheduled for about 3 months. We'll see how that goes. I mean, it looks like we're going to make sure every component that has any lead times or anything like that is in before we start construction, so we don't end up with any snafus like that. But that way, once they get in there, I mean, they'll be able to, especially since the staff will be able to not have to stay in this facility. That'll help the contractor to get through this thing a lot quicker, so that they can just get in there and get it done very quickly. So we're hopeful that we'll do it in less amount of time than that, but that's what we've got it scheduled for.
One more question, if I may. Do we have any other stations that have the partition for the walls for the bedrooms? It's just station 2, right?
This
Or
is
for the
station
dorms?
2. No, other dorms have the partitions between the bedrooms.
Like all the way up?
Yes. Yeah. This is
Or not? I mean, because this one's not all the way up
let the
right
chief
now.
explain all that.
Yeah, so when,
Excuse
excuse me, Jim Reed, Fire Chief.
Thank you.
It wasn't formal, so I had to get in the mode. And so, yeah, like Brian said, this hasn't been redone since it was, really created. they did create the walls, but they don't go to the ceiling. And that was all for the air handling and the sprinkler systems. So yeah, this is the last one in the city that does not have individual rooms.
That's what I thought. That's good. I'm glad to hear we'll have full walls, some privacy.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I move to approve construction contract AC 5800 with Houston Smith Construction Incorporated for the Fire Station Number 2 remodel project in the amount of $319,000.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we move 9.4 to the last item. 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the confidential employee resolution R3388 for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, with an estimated cost increase of $27,485 to the general fund in fiscal year 22. Ms. McCormick.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and City Council. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager for Management Services. I'm before you today seeking approval of a proposed resolution governing salaries and benefits for the confidential employees group. With your leave, I'll also present this item together with the next two items, agreements with Operating Engineers Local Number 3 or OE3. This update to the confidential employees resolution, as well as both agreements with OE3, includes several key changes that are the same across the board. Each document covers a single fiscal year from July 1 of 2021 through June 30th of 2022. Each document provides for a base pay increase of 3%, half of which may be premium pay to the extent that's allowed under the American Rescue Plan Act for these employees, and to the extent that council decides to use American Rescue Plan funds in that way. Each document also includes changes to how employees may use leave. Specifically, employees would be able to use annual or other types of leave for sick leave reasons if they run out of sick leave. Each document also increases deferred compensation matching to $75 per pay period. And in exchange for that increase, these groups are giving up a couple of things. Specifically, they're giving up a $15 meal allowance when they work 4 or more hours after their scheduled shift. They're also giving up the award of extra personal days if someone does not use their sick leave during the year. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we want people to use their sick leave when they are sick and stay home. So those two items are being removed from both agreements and the proposed resolution. Also in the OE3 agreement in item 10.1, we are proposing to change the name of that bargaining unit from non-supervisory to the more descriptive phrase skilled workforce, as that really better represents what that group does for the city. Anticipated cost increases from these changes for the confidential employees resolution, staff estimates that that will increase costs to the general fund in approximately $27,485. For the OE3 skilled workforce agreement, staff anticipates that will increase costs in the amount of $262,698 to the general fund and $410,351 to all other funds. And then for that OE3 supervisors agreement, staff estimates changes in costs of $38,819 to the general fund and $71,279 to all other funds. I would not be before you today without the help of the city's negotiating team, in particular HR Director Mindy Falk, Senior HR Analyst Jill Valdez, and Budget Manager Wayne Weber. And I also wouldn't be before you today with these documents without the willingness of the OE3 negotiating teams to come to the table, think outside the box, and find solutions that can work for all of us. Staff absolutely recommends approval of all three documents, Resolution 3388 and the two collective bargaining agreements with OE3. Each item does require a separate motion, and each of the two collective bargaining agreements also requires its own public hearing. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Ms. Bybee?
Yeah, thank you, Allison. I appreciate the work that you've done along with the labor groups and coming up with, create, like you said, outside of the box for some of it, but really working together. That's important. Just looking at the three, the OE3 skilled workforce is a much larger number of employees, which is reflected in the difference in cost to the city compared to the other two, correct?
Exactly. The confidential employees and the OE3 supervisory units are both quite small. There are roughly 20 positions in the supervisory group and even fewer in the confidential group.
Okay.
And then the skilled workforce group is, I believe, is the city's largest bargaining unit.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just looking at the disparity, the discrepancy between the three, obviously it's a much larger work group, so that's why the cost would be higher.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Okay, I'm looking for a motion on 9.5. Nope.
Just the presentation, but
Presentation was the same, but we're going to need a motion on 9.5, and then we'll go to public hearing. Ms. Vanderwell?
I move to approve the confidential employee resolution R-3388 for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, with an estimated cost of $27,485 to the general fund in FY22.
Ms. Bybee?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote. All right, motion carries unanimously. 10.1, do I need to read this one, or will it be in the motion?
it would be in the motion, but I'll defer to Mr. Adams if he would like you to read the whole thing.
This is a public hearing item. I think it would be prudent to go ahead and read the title, sir.
Okay, thank you. Public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an agreement AC 5795 between the City of Sparks and the Operating Engineers Local 3 Skilled Workforce Unit for the period of July 1, 2021 to June 30, 2022, with an estimated cost increase of $262,698 to the general fund and $410,351 to all other funds in FY22. Any questions or comments? All right, this is a public hearing. I'll open it up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak to the public at this time? I'm tongue-tied. Okay, none. We'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the agreement AC-5795 between the City of Sparks and the Operating Engineers Local Number 3 Skilled Workforce Unit for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, with an estimated cost increase of $262,698 to the general fund and $410,351 to all other funds in FY22.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.2, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an agreement AC 5796 between the City of Sparks and the Operating Engineers Local Number 3 Supervisory Unit for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, with an estimated cost increase of $38,819 to the general fund and $71,279 to all other funds in fiscal year 22. Any discussion? Not. I'm looking for, public hearing. Anybody in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais, and now I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
Move to approve agreement AC 5796 between the City of Sparks and the Operating Engineers Number 3 Supervisory Unit for the period July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, with an estimated cost increase of $38,818 to the general fund and $71,279 to all other funds in FY22.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. And motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. 10.3, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 3389, authorize the transfer of the city's 2021 private activity bond capacity allocation of $5,665,147.27 to be divided equally between the Nevada Housing Division and Nevada Rural Housing Authority for their respective affordable housing programs. Mr. Rundle.
Good afternoon, Jim Rundle, City Planner. Here to bring an item in front of the council where potentially you get to allocate money that won't cost anything, and that doesn't happen very often. So it's kind of a fun opportunity for the City Council today. Back in 1986, there was federal tax reform that was completed that provides the state of Nevada an annual allocation of private activity bond capacity. This provides the states and local government the opportunity to issue federal tax-exempt bonds. Included in those bonds is the opportunity to put them for affordable housing projects and programs. Again, it doesn't obligate the city of Sparks in any way. This year, the city of Sparks' share of the private activity bond cap is $5.6 million. We received requests from the Nevada Housing Division and the Nevada Rural Housing Authority, as we have in the past, to allocate that bond cap to them. Staff requested that those agencies provide us documents that we could share with the council. It's included in your packet of how the previous allocations have helped further affordable housing components in the city of Sparks. Nevada Housing Division identified they have used Sparks bond cap to support home ownership programs for first-time home buyers, including veterans, military families, and teachers. And in 2020, Nevada Housing Division provided nearly $4 million in mortgage assistance for teachers in the city of Sparks. That's a pretty big amount of money. In 2006, 2,237 Sparks homeowners utilized the Home at Last program offered by Nevada Rural Housing Authority. This helped them obtain low-rate mortgage options and down payment assistance for homes in the city of Sparks. The Nevada Rural Housing Authority would like to use those same programs again if they are allocated that private activity bond cap today. Mr. Mayor, the City of Sparks staff is recommending that the City Council split the private activity bond cap in half, 50-50 for each of the two divisions that have requested the money. I believe there are representatives here from the agencies. They were pretty eager to come up and speak there, as you saw at the beginning of the item. So they may want to come up and speak to you, Mr. Mayor. And that concludes my presentation, unless you have any questions.
Questions from the council? Mr. Dare.
And maybe they can help answer this, but with our housing shortage and not being able to find housing, I mean, I love this program and I love that we get to give out this money and it doesn't cost us. This is great. However, if there's no homes or it's difficult to homes, it'd be just good to understand what this actual, I get the past what happened. We are finding ourselves in a different situation right now, it seems. So how does that fit and where does that go if that's the case?
I believe that, and the Nevada Housing Division representatives can confirm this, but I believe they do have the option of utilizing money toward multifamily projects too. So they can confirm that, but I think they would be able to answer that further. But there are opportunities for those things too, to increase those housing options.
Want to come up and Something new. And?
You gotta do this, maybe.
Give us your
Thank you,
name.
Mr. Mayor and council members and city staff. I'm Diane Arvizo, the Director of Homeownership Programs for the Nevada Rural Housing Authority. Mr. Rundle did a great job giving you the background of private activity bond cap and what we would be using it for. In addition to the information that was provided in your packet, I wanted to share with you, and Councilman Dare, I would also want to answer your question, that actually through the COVID period, we set a record with our program, which nobody could have foreseen that, but we helped almost 1,200 people last year into homeownership throughout rural Nevada. City of Sparks is within our jurisdiction entirely because our jurisdiction is populations under 150,000. So we love to say, yes, that includes the city of Sparks. But I do want to share that of the 2,237 homebuyers that have received assistance in the city of Sparks through the Home at Last program, 257 of those were within the last year. And they received $2.4 million in down payment assistance out of the total of $28.3 million in down payment assistance that's been provided here in the city. More than 55% of those homeowners received an interest rate below 3.5%. Many received an interest rate as low as 2.25%. So even in the Home at Last program, we don't always provide down payment assistance. Sometimes we just provide the affordable interest rate. And the borrower's not penalized for their credit score as long as they meet the minimum of 640. So it really opens the door for affordable homeownership for those who are credit ready. They have to meet all the same underwriting guidelines as any other borrower. For the private activity bond cap, specifically, we use that for the mortgage credit certificate program. And what is unique about that, Councilman, is that boosts the qualifying, when the borrower applies for a loan, the tax credit estimate is treated as additional qualifying income, so that boosts their purchasing power. And it lowers their debt to income ratios, which is important for those who might have student loan debt. So the MCC is actually added on to any loan that they're already getting as long as they qualify. So that really opens the door for people who might not qualify otherwise. So the mortgage credit certificate program, when we use this program with the private activity bond cap, we actually have almost 3 years in which we can utilize that funding. So the point is to keep the program going, to keep it funded and grow it and scale it based on the need in the community. So when times are tight, and housing is, there's a shortage, the MCC program does not expire immediately. We have several years that we can get that out into the homeownership community. So we want to collect any unused private activity bond cap so we can keep the program going. We never ask for a transfer if there's another use for the private activity bond cap. That's very important. We always want to support any projects that might be asking for that allocation as well. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about the program information that was shared with you or in general. Thank you.
Questions from the council?
Can I just say one more thing? I just want to say, we've seen your guys' program over the years, and it's fantastic and helps so many people. So thank you for what you do, and I look forward. Are there any answers you have that you guys think you would say, looking at what's happening in our communities, regional and even statewide, how do we approach this of trying to find homes for a lot of people coming out of college or any of that stuff? It seems like everything's getting priced to this place. So your program's helpful, but is there still more needed?
Well, we don't build houses for single-family purchases, so that's something that we don't address specifically. But what we do is educate the home buyers and get them ready for when their opportunity to purchase and stop renting and become a homeowner is ready for them. We actually provide financing for people who earn up to $135,000 in income. And so there's a lot of people who can still afford to buy a home right now, who were not impacted by, furloughs or anything like that. They may have to purchase a little further out, but a lot of people are looking at a creative way to become a homeowner. We finance manufactured homes. We finance 1 to 4 unit properties. So as long as they own and occupy one of the units, we can, there's all kinds of creative ways we can help people get into a home. Also, townhomes, which you guys have a few of those here. So the program's very flexible in that regard, but we don't actually build the inventory. So we're more of the supporter and the provider when they're ready and when there is something available for them.
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Vanderwall.
First of all, I want to thank you for the program. I've used the program because I am a real estate professional, and over the 33 years, many, many times to have people realize the dream of home ownership. And then I was also lucky enough that my daughter and son-in-law were able to use the program to purchase a house. So I want to thank you for everything that you do and for the programs and for the support of home ownership.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I appreciate you sharing that, and congratulations to your family.
All right, any other comments from the council? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. It does not say it's a public hearing. Is it a public hearing? Madam Clerk?
Yeah, it's under.
All right, we'll open it to the public for comment. Can't hurt. Seeing none, bring it back. Now I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to adopt Resolution 3389, authorizing the transfer of the city's 2021 private activity bond capacity allocation of $5,665,147.27 to be divided equally between the Nevada Housing Division and Nevada Rural Housing Authority for the respective affordable housing programs.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. And motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the City of Sparks for your partnership.
Thank you. All right, item 11.1, public hearing, consideration of possible approval of a final planned development handbook, Kylie Ranch North, Phase 11, for a site of 15.82 acres in size, generally located east of David Allen Parkway and south of Windmill Farms Parkway, Sparks, Nevada, APN 083-024-27, in the NUD, New Urban District, Kylie Ranch North Zoning District. Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Jonathan Cummins from the Planning Division. This request is for the approval of a final plan development handbook for Kylie Ranch North Phase 11. The entirety of the 874-acre Kylie Ranch property is outlined in blue in the exhibit. And for a bit of context, for where we are here, Pyramid Highway runs along the west of the Kylie Ranch North property. This is Sparks Boulevard as it turns into Highland Ranch Parkway, crossing Pyramid. Just northeast of Kylie Ranch North is Pioneer Meadows Plan Development. This is the Lazy 5 Park just to the north, as well as the Stonebrook Plan Development, and south of Kylie Ranch North is Kylie Ranch South. The original tentative handbook for Kylie Ranch North was approved by the City Council in 2004. As you may recall, this is relatively unique in our plan developments in Sparks in that Kylie Ranch North was approved as a tentative handbook and then approved in subsequent phases, each phase requiring a final handbook which has to comply with the approved tentative handbook. So the Phase 11 site outlined in red in this image is referred to in the tentative handbook as Village 22. The site is 15.82 acres in total. 14.34 of those acres are mixed use, and 1.48 acres would be designated as open space. So with those breakdowns of acreages in mind, the approved land use map from the most recent update to the tentative handbook looks something like this. And so I'll give you a point of reference here in the middle. These bright blue properties are the school sites. So to the east here is the Sky Ranch Middle School, and on the west is the Bohatch Elementary School. And so just south of Bohatch is the Phase 11 property. So this is at the southeast intersection of David Allen Parkway and Windmill Farms Road. So if we could switch gears a little bit to discuss the land uses associated with the Phase 11 property. The mixed use portion of Phase 11 is obviously broken down into residential and non-residential uses. On the residential side, the required residential density would be 8 to 23.9 dwelling units per acre. So in order to achieve that density, various multifamily uses are allowed there, apartments, condominiums, townhomes, assisted living facilities. Point of interest there is that single-family housing would not be a permitted use in the Phase 11 site. So as you can see in the image, all these yellow properties, these different shades of yellow throughout Kylie Ranch North are the different majority single-family housing phases or villages. And so as we move in towards the Pyramid Corridor, we're moving away from that single-family detached emphasis and moving towards mixed use, multifamily, things like that. So on the commercial side, this is a list of permitted uses. It's not a comprehensive list, but some of the more common uses that might be anticipated in the Phase 11 site. This list includes office, gym, retail, which would include grocery stores, convenience stores, medical office, personal services, restaurants, and restricted gaming. And for a little bit more depth, through a conditional use permit, these are some of the uses that would be allowed. Drive-throughs, lodging of less than 200 rooms, manufacturing, churches, and civic facilities. Again, the lists aren't comprehensive, but give you an idea of some of the more common commercial uses allowed in the Phase 11 site. And so finally, this will be our last slide. Sparks Municipal Code does require that the 5 criteria outlined here be met in order to approve a final handbook. So on points 1 and 2, proposed final handbooks must not vary the residential density or the proposed ratio of residential to non-residential uses. The final handbook does propose standards related to these 2 criteria that would mirror what was approved at the tentative handbook stage. Uses and ratio of uses, as well as residential densities, would remain the same because, again, the mixed use designation from the tentative handbook is being adopted in this final handbook. Point number 3, a final handbook must not involve a reduction of open space. At the last update to the tentative handbook, this open space in this particular phase was anticipated to be 1.29 acres. Now that lines have been drawn a little bit more accurately with the request for the final handbook, that open space is being increased from 1.29 to 1.48. So there would not be a reduction of open space. There'll be an increase. And on points 4 and 5, final handbook must not substantially increase the floor area for non-residential uses nor substantially increase the ground areas for or heights of buildings. So again, there's no increase to these or any other development standards proposed in this final handbook. Everything in that land use designation is identical to what was approved at the tentative handbook. Planning Commission has found that the requested final handbook meets each of those criteria and has forwarded to you a recommendation of approval. The applicant's representative is here today as well, and I'll be glad to take your questions.
Okay, question from the council.
I do.
Ms. Bybee.
So on you said there cannot be single family, but I don't see any unit count. Do we know on the residential side, the multifamily or however that, I don't see any anticipated number of units, or is that subject to, will be coming back to us later?
What we do have in the tentative handbook is a table which outlines the total number of units that can be built in all of Kylie Ranch North. So if a request were to come forward for multifamily in Phase 11, the total number of units there would count against the total number that would be allowed over time as a maximum for all of Kylie Ranch North. So at this time, we don't have a specific number that can or can't be built here. That number would always be sort of tallied against what was approved as a total maximum for all of Kylie Ranch North.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open it up to the public for comments. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
Put my glasses on, please. I move to approve the final plan and development handbook, Kylie Ranch North, Phase 11, for a site 15.82 acres in size located generally east of David Allen Parkway and south of Windmill Farms Parkway, Sparks, Nevada, in the NUD, New Urban District, Kylie Ranch North zoning district, as it is in substantial compliance with the Kylie Ranch North tentative development handbook as set forth in the staff report.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, item 11.2, public hearing, consideration of and possible action on a request for a major deviation, MAJ, I can't read that one very well, MAJ 20-0004 to reduce the gross residential density from a minimum of 12 dwellings per unit acre to 8.93 dwelling units per acre in the MF multifamily residential zoning district on a site approximately 5.15 acres in size with larger parcel approximately 7.35 acres in size, located on the northwest. Ian, you wrote me a long description. The north of the intersection of Highland Ranch Parkway and Five Ridges Parkway, APN 536-12117 in Sparks, Nevada. Ian.
Mayor Lawson, members of the
Member, you can be a member too.
council members. I'm Ian Crittenden. I am the Development Services Manager. I'm covering for Sienna today. She wasn't able to make it in. And so I'm going to be covering this item for you. I'm actually going to be presenting both this major deviation and the subsequent 11.2 item, the tentative map, together just because they make more sense if we go through it kind of as one functional unit. But so like I said, this presentation is 2 requests. From a process standpoint, the major deviation needs to have its action prior to the tentative map action. The major deviation also will require a public hearing, whereas the tentative map does not. Typically, the Planning Commission would be the deciding body for major deviations, but because these 2 items are being processed concurrently, it consolidates the requests and uses the longest time frame and approval process. And because the tentative map is the longer of the 2 and City Council is the decision body for tentative maps, in this case, the City Council is going to be the decision body for this major deviation as well. Okay, so the Five Ridges Village 1B is outlined in red here, just on the north side of Highland Ranch Parkway, just west of the intersection of Highland Ranch Parkway with Pyramid Way. The site is 5.15 acres in size and is on the southern portion or the southern end of the greater Five Ridges site, which is outlined in blue here. So as proposed, the major deviation request seeks to reduce the required minimum density for this site from 12 dwelling units per acre, which is the minimum dwelling units per acre or minimum density in the MF2 zoning district, to 8.9 dwelling units per acre, which is a 25.6% decrease. Major deviations can allow deviations from 10 to less than 50%. So it does fall inside of that window. If approved, granting the lower density would support the construction of 46 units as opposed to the 62 that would be required at a minimum if we stuck with the 12 units per acre. The tentative map request proposes 46, a 46 lot duplex subdivision with lots arranged in 23 2-unit buildings. 46 duplex units on the 5.15 acre site yields a gross density of 8.93 dwelling units per acre, which, as discussed, is less than the minimum required density of 12 units per acre in the MF2 zoning district. Because of this reduced density, approval of the tentative map is contingent upon the approval of the major deviation. This is the preliminary landscape plan, and it illustrates the overall subdivision design. Primary access will be from Highland Ranch Parkway, and there will be a emergency secondary access that'll go off of the site and connect to Five Ridges Parkway. Sidewalks are proposed on one side of the street. You can see them here kind of outlined on the south side of the development, and they'll connect to the Five Ridges Parkway via that emergency access road. Each duplex unit will have 1 parking space in the garage, 1 parking space in the driveway, and then there are an additional 41 surface parking spaces throughout the subdivision. And the total number of parking spaces being provided is 133. It's a little bit of an important number we'll come back to in a second. So this is the preliminary building elevations for the proposed duplex unit. As you can see, there are a mix of, or an anticipated mix of 1 and 2-story units, each with a 1-car garage. The preliminary floor plans show both 2 and 3 bedroom units. Code requires that 1 parking space per bedroom for duplexes. If all of the units are constructed with 3 bedrooms, it will require 138 parking spaces, 5 more than the 133 that are provided. So because of this, we've introduced condition number 23 that will require that final floor plans and a model mix kind of plan be provided to staff so that we can review and approve that to verify that there are adequate parking available for the number of units being actually provided. We don't have that mix at this time. So. Okay, so that covers the overview of these 2 items. And now we have to get into the many findings that are associated. We have 5 findings associated with a major deviation and 12 findings associated with a tentative map. So bear with me. It's going to be a little bit. We can do it. I believe in us. Starting with the major deviation findings. Finding MD1 focuses on consistency with Title 20 or the zoning code for the city. The major deviation process was added to the zoning code to provide a mechanism to bridge gaps on a case-by-case basis between the city's adopted development standards and the various factors affecting particular development sites. So currently, the zoning code does not provide an option for residential development between 7.4 and 11.9 dwelling units per acre. This is because the SF6 zoning district, which is the most intense or the highest density single family zoning district, tops out or has a maximum density of 7.3 dwelling units per acre. And then MF2, which is our least dense multifamily district, has a minimum density of 12 units per acre, essentially giving us a density gap. Approval of this major deviation would allow for development within that current density gap and would not adversely impact the ability for the development in MF2 zone to act as the buffer that it is between the single family to the north and the commercial zoned and potentially commercially or higher density multifamily developed properties to the south. To develop low density attached products such as duplex and townhomes in the city of Sparks right now, you essentially have 2 options. The applicants have 2 options, either to approach it like this applicant has with a straight zoned MF2 zoning district and a major deviation to adjust that density, or you have to pursue the planned development route. And so those are the 2 options, and this applicant has pursued this option. Finding MD2 asks the council to consider the impacts of this request on health, safety, welfare, as well as impacts to adjacent property and improvements. Granting a lower density would reduce the required number of dwelling units on this site from 62 to 46. Development of the site with that reduced 46 dwelling units would not have a material impact on public health, safety, or welfare, nor would it be injurious to property or improvements in the vicinity. All right, finding MD3 focuses on preservation and enjoyment of property rights possessed by other nearby properties in the same land use district. And now it says land uses district, and so that would be the comprehensive plan land use district. In this case, the comprehensive plan land use district is MF14. There are other properties in the MF14 comprehensive plan land use designation located nearby to the subject site. However, those sites are governed by plan development handbooks and have no minimum densities associated. So granting this major deviation request would reduce the required minimum residential density for the project in a manner that's consistent with the properties in the same land use designation that are in essentially the planned development zoning districts, PD or NUD. This would allow for the preservation of an enjoyment of a property right possessed by other owners of MF14 designated property that is not permitted on the subject site unless the major deviation is granted. Finding MD4 focuses on whether or not a special privilege is not allowed to other properties would occur due to the granting of our requests. Other properties in the MF2 zoning district are subject to the same 12 units per acre density minimum. However, they are just as apt and able to apply for the major deviation process, and then based on the details of that request, potentially could be approved as well. So this doesn't constitute a special privilege to this site. Finding MD5 requires public notice be given and a public hearing held. Both the Planning Commission and City Council meetings functioned as public hearings for this item. Mailed notice was provided to all owners of property within 500 feet of the subject property, and notice was published in the Reno Gazette-Journal. One comment in opposition was received. All right, now we get into the real fun. We're going to talk about tentative map findings. So there are 12 of these findings that need to be considered. For the most part, the findings are put in here in numerical order, except for when we talk about streets, which we bundle a couple of them together. So starting off with policy T1, which is compliance with or conformance with the comprehensive plan. The 46 lots proposed in this tentative map would provide a duplex housing option that enhances housing diversity in the city of Sparks, supporting policy H2. City services, the site can be provided at acceptable levels with the improvements outlined in the Five Ridges Development Agreement, complying with policy CF1. And then for sidewalks, the tentative map plan shows sidewalks will be provided on one side of the private local streets, providing access to the lots. Sidewalks are typically provided on both sides of local streets. However, the applicant has indicated that provisions of sidewalks on one side of the street is appropriate to reduce grading disturbances and the use of additional retaining walls on the north side of the proposed subdivision. Additionally, pedestrian circulation standards that apply in the MF2 zone require sidewalks that are a minimum of 4 feet wide along the public streets, but these standards are silent regarding sidewalks on private streets. And for these reasons, the provision of a 4 foot wide sidewalk on one side of the street, of the private local street, I should say, are generally consistent with policy C4. Policies T2 and T7 both relate to streets. Conformance with the city's street master plan for defining T2, project access is provided from Highland Ranch Parkway to ensure safe turning movements. Condition 19 requires that the paved approach that connects Highland Ranch Parkway to the local access road meet a specific NDOT design. Also, the 2050 RTP identifies Highland Ranch Parkway from Sun Valley Parkway to Five Ridges Parkway be widened from 2 lanes to 4 lanes in the 2031-2050 design, or time frame, I should say, sorry. A limited amount of off-street or off-site project grading is proposed in the area identified to accommodate the future widening of Highland Ranch Parkway. Condition 17 requires that this off-site grading be further evaluated and, if necessary, eliminated to ensure that the project does not interfere with future widening. Finding T7 focuses on the impact of public streets. Trip generation for this tentative map request is estimated at 267 average daily trips, with 20 a.m. peak hour trips and 24 p.m. peak hour trips. These trips were included in a traffic trip generation letter that analyzed the impact of townhomes rather than commercial uses in the southern portion of Five Ridges. That letter found that development of Five Ridges with detached single family and townhome uses resulted in traffic impacts that are similar to or less than the trips analyzed in the master traffic study that was done in 2017. However, that letter does not evaluate whether or not the construction of Village 1B that we're talking about will degrade the level of service on Highland Ranch Parkway or at the intersection of Highland Ranch Parkway and Pyramid. And so condition 15 requires that a traffic analysis evaluating those level of service thresholds be provided prior to the recordation of a final map to determine whether or not off-site improvements are required with the construction of this subdivision. Finding T3, agencies that regulate environmental impacts did not respond, provide comments. However, the developer must still comply with local, county, and state requirements in regards to environmental impacts. Finding T4 focuses on the availability of water to serve the site. The domestic water requirement for 46 duplex units is estimated at 5.52 acre feet per year. Municipal water will be provided by the Sun Valley General Improvement District. Finding T5 looks at the availability of utilities to serve the site, including both sewer and stormwater. The staff has estimated that 46 duplex units will generate 8,280 average gallons per day, with a peak generation of 41,400 gallons of sewage per day. The applicant is required to demonstrate that there is adequate conveyance and sewer treatment plant capacity to serve this project prior to the recordation of a final map. And final stormwater and drainage plan for the development must be approved prior to recordation of a final map. Finding T6 looks at the availability of schools, police, transportation, and parks. For schools, the project site is zoned for Hall Elementary, Shaw Middle School, and Spanish Springs High School. The Washington County School District provided a comment letter indicating that the project they're anticipating it to generate 8 new students to Hall Elementary, 4 new students to Shaw Middle School, and 4 new students to Spanish Springs High School. Hall Elementary and Shaw Middle School are both under capacity and projected to remain under capacity for 10 years at least. And while enrollment at Spanish Springs High School is over capacity, enrollment relief is expected to come from the construction of the new Hug High School in fall of 2022. The Sparks Police Department will be providing service to the site, and they express no specific concerns about this project. As previously discussed, roadway network improvements needed to accommodate the Five Bridges project are identified in the development agreement and will be installed consistent with the thresholds in that agreement. And then there are no community or regional parks provided or planned in the Five Bridges development project site. All right, finding T8 addresses floodplain, slopes, and soil. The lots proposed in this subdivision do not fall in the 100-year floodplain. For slopes, the northern portion of the site will be cut, and there will be fill used to create a building pad. That building pad along the western portion will be about level with Highland Ranch Parkway, and then as you move to the east, the Highland Ranch Parkway falls, and the pad will stay fairly even, being about 15 feet in difference by the time you get to the eastern edge of the site. The grading is consistent with that approved by the conditional use permit for development on slopes, hilltops, and ridges. And condition 11 requires that all grading and revegetation conditions in the conditional use permit be satisfied prior to the recordation of a final map. For soils, a final geotechnical report is required at the time of a final map. Finding T9, only the school district provided comments, and those were previously discussed. And then finding T10 asks you to consider the availability of fire protection services. Village 1B is outside of the 4-minute travel response time for the Sparks Fire Department, and units must have sprinklers unless the units become within the 4-minute travel response time, which would only come if a 6th fire station were constructed in the right location and within that distance. Finding T11 looks at other impacts identified by staff for this proposal. We've identified parking, community amenities, and fencing. As previously discussed, condition 23 requires that a final floor plans and a housing model mix be provided to staff prior to the recordation of a final map, so we can verify that the number of bedrooms in the duplexes and the number of parking spaces comply with the parking requirements. Condition 21 requires that at least 3 community amenities and their associated operations be approved prior to recordation of a final map. And condition 24 requires that any wall separating lots from Highland Ranch Parkway be constructed with a split-face CMU and designed to blend in with the surrounding natural environment. And then finally, finding T12 requires that public notice of this item, the posting of the agenda for both the Planning Commission and City Council satisfy this requirement. So, Planning Commission has recommended City Council approve both the major deviation and tentative map requests. Suggested motions are on this slide. Again, public hearing is required for the major deviation and no public hearings required for the tentative map. And there was something else. Oh, just a reminder again, major deviation action needs to happen before the tentative map action. With that, that's the end of my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions, and the applicant's representative is here as well if you have any questions for them.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, or do we? You have a question, Mr. Dare?
I just always like seeing different things come into our community. I'm glad there's some townhomes going over there, it looks like, and some, just having a diversity of homes and different things coming in. I think it's good.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll open it up to the public for comment. Anyone in the public wishing to comment at this time? Seeing none, bring it back to the dais and look for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I have to take off my mask so my glasses don't fog, so if the governor's coming after me, that's why. So, I move to approve the major deviation MAJ 20-0004 to reduce the gross residential density from a minimum of 12 dwelling units per acre to 8.93 dwelling units per acre in the MF2 multifamily residential zoning district on a site 5.15 acres in size within a larger parcel, approximately 7.35 acres in size, located northwest of the intersection of Highland Ranch Parkway and Five Ridges Parkway, APN 536-121-17, Sparks, Nevada, subject to 3 conditions of approval.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. And motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ian. Now we're going to go back to 9.4, consideration of and possible action on a request for a tentative map for a 46-lot duplex subdivision, STM 20-0009, on a site 5.15 acres in size within a larger parcel, approximately 7.35 acres in size, located on the northwest intersection of Highland Ranch and Five Ridges Parkway, APN 536-121-17, Sparks, Nevada. Ian.
So this is the tentative map I just discussed at length. It is the request associated with that major deviation for the reduction in density, 46 duplex units on 5.15 acres.
Okay, questions from the council? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I move to approve the tentative map STM 20009 for a 46-lot duplex subdivision and on a site 5.15 acres in size within a larger parcel, approximately 7.35 acres in size, located northwest of the intersection of Highland Ranch Parkway and Five Ridges Parkway, APN 536-121-17, Sparks, Nevada, in the MF2 multifamily residential zoning district, adopting findings T1 through T12 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report and subject to conditions of approval 1 through 24. Woo.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, guys. 12.1, comments from the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments from the public?
No, sir.
Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? There's only 2 of you left.
They don't
Just-
want to say
yeah,
anything. They should come up and say something.
Especially if they're sitting over 3 now.
Okay. 12.2, announcements from the mayor, city council, and city manager. Mr. Manager, you have anything?
Sure.
Anyone from the council have anything?
I do.
Ms. Bybee.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to request that the city manager look into, we have a interlocal agreement regarding our election contract with, we've used Washoe County to provide election services for our upcoming elections next year. And I would like to have the manager look into, as we look to signing that again, if we can see if the city of Sparks can have a little more involvement in the actual tallying, how we can help the county as we tally votes, because I think we really, there's not any of us in this city or state or country that don't want to have election integrity assured. And I'm not saying Washoe County is not, but I think our residents really are looking to have a confidence in our voting system, and anything we can do to improve that through how do we get involved and work with Washoe County Registrar on that process as we look at our interlocal agreement. So whatever you can find out that we could help make that happen would be great. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Understood, and will do.
Any other comments from the council? Mr. Dare?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody, on September 10th at 2 p.m., we'll be having a celebration of life service for the late Mayor Ron Smith, and we want to invite whoever would like to come out, and it'll be at the Sparks Marina right in front of the Nevada Veterans Memorial. That is the September 10th, Friday at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. With that brings us to item 13, adjournment. Without objection, we are adjourned.
Go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't leave. Best is yet to come.
Run away.
Okay. If you could give us just a moment, and I will be calling to order the redevelopment, Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting. We're just getting the computers all set. So hang on just a minute and we'll be ready to go.
You want me to sign those now? Or are you going to stick through the redevelopment?
It's only another 3 hours.
Or 3 minutes, whichever comes first.
Okay. In the meantime, do you want to practice your public speaking? There's only 1 million people on Facebook watching us. Come on.
They are wearing a Reno
The
shirt.
Reno shirt. So
Can we get you a Sparks shirt? Would you
We
wear
still
it?
like you, even though you're wearing the wrong shirt. But hey.
Well, you know the reason why they're here is because the Reno meetings are 12 hours long.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're here. Okay, so I'm Shawnee Thomas.
And I'm Graham Thomas.
And we're Janella Thomas's children. And we're here to do our U.S. government hours to, I don't know, watch public meetings.
What did you learn today?
Oh,
Let me ask staff, what did you learn today?
I don't know, you kind of go over everything. I didn't realize that you went over, I just hear what my mom talks about, which is just engineering stuff that I don't understand.
That boring stuff.
I didn't know Humane Society and stuff like that also came in, and the National Suicide Prevention Week, all that. I didn't know that you guys covered that as well.
Did you learn anything?
I guess I kind of just assumed that everyone had to just stay the whole time, and it was kind of interesting to see that once they're done with their presentation, they can just go, which is kind of nice, I guess. If you don't want to stay for stuff that you don't care about.
Okay, cool. Any desire to be a politician? God, no, huh?
thanks for being here.
I think that was a hard no.
So are we ready? Okay. So we actually saved you from having to be on camera because we are now, I'm calling to order the meeting of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency on Monday, August 23rd, 2021 with a roll call.
Chairperson Bybee?
Here.
Agency Member Lawson?
Here.
Abbott?
Here.
Vanderwell,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Dare,
Here.
Chief Legal Officer Adams,
Here.
Chief Administrative Officer Kreutz.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 3, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Unless you do want to speak on camera. No? Okay. Okay, see no public comment. We will close that and move on to item 4, 4.1, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Ms. Vanderbilt?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, so Agency Member Vanderwell, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Agency Member Dare. Please vote.
Get to vote on this one. Yeah.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Item 5.1. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for July 12th, 2021. Do I have any additions, corrections, or motion to approve the agenda as submitted? Mr. Abbott?
I move to approve the minutes for the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for July 12th, 2021.
Okay, I have a motion by Agency Member Abbott. Mr. Anderson?
I'll second the motion.
I have a second by Agency Member Anderson. Please vote.
Hey, these guys are distracting me.
I know, I'm really heavy. I've got a loss of control at the other end of the dais here. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 6.1. Consideration and possible acceptance of the report of the claims and bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period of June 25th, 2021 through August 5th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Lawson?
I move to accept the report of claims and bills and the appropriate transfers for period June 25th, 21 through August 5th, 2021.
Okay, I have a motion by Agency Member Lawson. Second, Mr. Dare?
I second that awesome motion you made.
I have a second by Agency Member Dare. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, business item 7.1. Discussion and possible approval of a construction contract, AC 5789, with Garden Shop Nursery Landscaping Division Incorporated for the Marina All Abilities Playground Construction Project Bid Number 20-21-020 PWP WA 2021283 in the amount of $841,707. Mr. Kaysen.
Yes, good afternoon. For the record again, Brian Kaysen, Capital Projects Manager. Real quick,
That answer.
do you have them on here?
Dang.
Oh, I see it. Never mind. I'm sorry. So, first of all, this is again the project location this is for the Marina All Abilities Playground Construction Project, located at basically the intersection of Howard Drive and East Lincoln Way, just to the northwest of the marina. Ultimately, this project was presented to council back on July 12th and is being brought before the redevelopment agency because a portion of the funding for this project is coming from redevelopment area 2. This will be a great addition to the Sparks Marina, and this playground will provide play equipment that can be accessed by children of all abilities. And then I'm going to bring up the equipment just to remind you. This is the 3D view of the playground, the 3D rendering. The project does include the installation of playground equipment, several shade structures throughout the playground area, a new wrought iron fence that will enclose the new playground, a rubber tile system for safety and accessibility of the playground, along with some concrete work that will add pathways around the playground and basically change some of the parking spots that are adjacent to this playground on the south side of it to add additional ADA parking for this playground. There was funding sources from 3 other grants. Again, from the Reno Rodeo, they graciously are granting $120,000 or donating $120,000 for this project. The Sparks Rotary Club is donating $80,000 for this project. The Osmond Foundation is donating $10,000. And then also we had council approved funding from Fund 1402, which is the Parks Capital Projects Fund. And then of course the additional redevelopment area 2 funding. Staff does recommend council approve the Marina All Abilities Playground project in the amount of $841,707 to Garden Shop Nursery. And with that being the end of my presentation, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Mr. Kaysen, that amount, the $841,707, is construction only, correct?
Yes,
We've
this is-
already looked at the equipment, which was a separate item.
Yes, it was a separate item. We've actually already ordered the equipment, which used separate funding. That way we can get that going because has about a 12-week lead time. So we're trying to get that going prior to this part of it.
So our total cost for the park
Is
estimate?
approximately $1.1 million.
1.1, okay. And time frame? Are we looking November, December for completion?
We're looking at hopefully getting it. We're going to verify this equipment as it gets closer to time of it coming in to make sure that it's in or going to be in soon before we start the construction. But we're looking at somewhere in that October to December timeframe to complete the project after summer's over with. There's not as many people there after Labor Day. We've also got of course the Veterans Memorial that's being constructed in that area, and so we got to take a look at that, how access is going to work throughout that area.
Right. Do I have any questions or comments from the council? Excuse me, from the agency. You're an agency now. No additional comments here. And the only other thing I would like to say once again, and we've said this previous meetings, but an opportunity again to thank the community support for this amazing All Abilities Playground. We have Powra Park right now. People come regionally to use, and this will be such an enhancement in a very well-traveled area to make that an All Abilities Playground. And thanks to support from Reno Rodeo Foundation, from Sparks Rotary, and from the Osmond Foundation, is really outstanding to see that cooperative, spirit to put something like this together that's going to benefit not only our community, but our region. So, okay, hearing no other comments, I'm looking for a motion. Oh, I already have one here. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve, but before I read the motion, I just want to say how excited I am about this project. This is so cool. And yes, we have some community partners that have done fantastic things to make this happen. So looking forward to it. And with that, I move to approve the construction contract AC 5789 with Garden Shop Nursery Landscaping Division Incorporated for the Marina All Abilities Playground Construction Project bid number 20-21-020 PWP #WA 2021-283 in the amount of $841,707.
Okay, I have a motion by Agency Member Anderson. Mr. Abbott?
I'll second it.
Okay, and I have a second by Agency Member Abbott. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, we move to item 8.1, comments from the public. Do we have any comments from the public or anyone who wishes to speak? Seeing none, I will close comments from the public. Announcements from the agency and Chief Administrative Officer. Any announcements? Okay, we'll move on to item 9. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Cool.